put ourselves on right now if you want. So in this test is really, we're going to uncover 4 traps that we may find ourselves in. And this is going to serve as an examination today with how we're doing. So these traps that I'm going to talk about, if you find yourself in them, they will hold you back. If I find myself caught, ensnared in them, they will hold me back in my growth with the Lord. Why? Because these traps contradict the very nature and the character of God. And if I am not walking in alignment with the very nature and the character of God, then I am walking against it, and I cannot grow in Him, in maturity in Him. So we're gonna go there. These 4 traps. Okay. So first off, who we know God to be and how we understand Him to work is detailed in history of the Lord and in the stories that the Bible tells. So we don't need to be ignorant of the character or the nature of God, because if we want to know about God, we just have to read the Word and see His nature and character. It is clear. So when our behavior in life and the way we operate is in opposition to this, these traps that we'll talk about can turn into cycles in our life that prevents us from growing. And you may even find yourself over the years asking this question, well, why am I not further along in this area? Why am I have not grown in this area? Like, what? I'm still the same impatient person I was 20 years ago. Like, what is up with that? And sometimes we wonder, kind of like, why aren't we growing? And I feel like it's because we've found ourselves in some of these traps over and over again. It's creating cycles, and we cannot seem to get out of it. And why? Because we're probably not aware that it is a trap. You're going to become aware today. It's a trap. So I'm going to go over these. And as we do, let's allow ourselves to kind of go through the test. Let's allow ourselves to be like, do I find myself in this from time to time? And if you do, that's okay. There's no judgment. There's no judgment. It's like an opportunity. It's an opportunity to grow and be aware so that you don't have to be ensnared anymore, because this is what we want. So from now on, we can avoid the trap and we can kind of step aside because we see it coming. 4 hidden traps. The first one is panic. Panic. See, if we believe God is faithful to His word, the need to panic becomes null and void. Because to panic is a contradiction of the faithfulness of God. Verse 25 says, "Do not be afraid of sudden fear, nor the storm of the wicked when it comes." In the Message, it says, no need to panic over alarms or surprises or predictions that doomsday is just around the corner, because God will be right there with you. He'll keep you safe and sound. That's verse 26. And verse 26 in the Amplified says, "For the Lord will be your confidence, firm and strong, and will keep your foot from being caught in a trap." Do we find ourselves in panic when trouble comes? It's like we're good. Everything's good, just kind of walking along. And then, bam, there's a money problem and we panic. Or bam, there's a health crisis and we panic. Or you get a phone call from your children and there's something wrong and we panic. Or there's a marriage conflict and we panic. Or there's a work stress and we panic. Or there's this and that. Or we hear something on the news. Or there's bad weather coming and we panic and we panic and we panic. We're fine, and then suddenly something changes and we slip into panic. See, at some point, we just need to decide to take God for His word always. Like you only need to decide this once. This doesn't have to be a decision case by case. This can be today, I'm going to decide that I will always take God for his word. Then I don't need to panic because I've already made the decision to believe him, that he is faithful. And to panic is a contradiction of the faithfulness of God, which is his nature. We must stay alert to the trap of panic when life blows up in our face. We have to. Have you ever been freaking out over something and someone says, calm down? How many know that that doesn't help? When you are freaking out in the moment and someone's like, you know what? Just calm down. I can't calm down. I'm freaking out. That's the whole thing. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to tell you while you're all calm to calm down. So the next time you are freaking out, you'll be like, hey, that time when I was calm in church on that Sunday morning, Renee said, calm down. I'm going to do that right now. And it's not going to irritate you as much. You might actually be able to do it. Sometimes we just need to calm down and take a step back and remind ourselves of the faithfulness of God. How can we in the face of trouble? Because our confidence is in him. It's not in me. My confidence is not in me. My confidence is not in my situation. My confidence is not in my ability to figure out how to get out of my situation. My confidence is in the Lord. And the Lord knows all things, and he has done all things, and all things in and through him are good. And he has a reputation of never leaving us, never failing us, and always bringing us out on the other side. Always. He never leads us on the wrong side. He always leads us to the right side. So because we know that about him and our confidence is in him, we don't have to freak out. We can calm down. We can sidestep that trap of panic. The second trap, delay. Delay. Well, that's kind of unexpected and rarely spotted. No one would think putting off something would be a trap for us, but it definitely can be. Verse 27 says, do not withhold good from those whom it's due, when it is in your power to do it. Do not say to your neighbor, go and come back, and tomorrow I'll give it to you, when you already have it with you. See, if we believe that God has it all, owns it all, and we are conduits of his blessing, to withhold from others when we have the ability to give is a contradiction of his generosity, which is his nature. God does not withhold from us, so why would we withhold from him? Let's not fall into the trap of delaying what is good, the generosity of the Lord through our lives, hoping someone else will take care of it. Well, if we just wait a little bit, maybe someone else will take care of it. If you see a person or a situation in need and it is in your power to do it, whether it be because you have abundance or whether it be because you will sacrifice, do it. Be generous as the Lord is generous. It is in his nature. As you walk in line with God's heart for people in areas of blessing, blessing will be unlocked back into your life because you are allowing him to work through you. And it is a principle of the word that as we sow, we reap. The message says, never walk away from someone who deserves help. Your hand is God's hand for that person. This also sometimes I feel like kind of leads into like following through on your word. If you have said your word to someone like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to help you in this area, just do it. Don't withhold that good when you have an opportunity to do it. Why do we make promises that we can't keep? Like, why do we do that? What is that? You're if you're gonna say you're gonna do it, just do it. And I know there's like everyone has a person in your life right now. You can think of, oh yeah, I know that person. They tell me they're gonna do it, and there's like an 80-20 chance that they're not going to do it. And I'm almost always right on that. If you're that person, just stop it. Also that. We can be better. We can follow through. We need to not drop the ball when we can help. We need to not hesitate when we can help. And delay or put off or hope someone else will come through. Delaying the opportunity to give is a contradiction to the generosity of God and will limit our blessing back into our life. Number 3, the third trap is mistrust. Mistrust. Verse 29 says, do not devise evil against your neighbor who lives securely beside you. In the Message, it says, sitting there, trusting and unsuspecting. Verse 30, do not quarrel with a man without cause if he has done you no harm. Now, this can be secret quarreling or open quarreling. Because how many know you can have fights with people and they don't even know you're having a fight? Why do we talk about people behind their back? Okay, I'm going to get a little this might hurt a little bit. You guys ready? Can you take it? All right. Everybody breathe. I love you. Why do we talk about people behind their back? Usually we talk about people behind their back when, one, we don't agree with something they're doing. We don't like what they're doing. We think we could do it better. So we talk about them. Why do we think we can do better? Why do we think we can say it better, lead it better? What makes us better? Really, like honest assessment. Why would we be necessarily better? What if we're not? What if they're actually better? What if your way or your thought or my way or my thought is actually worse? See, sometimes we create conflict around us and between us, and the other person doesn't even know about it. They're sitting there all trusting and unsuspecting. And we're gossiping or we're talking or venting just to get it out or just for prayer. Listen, if it's about a person, we don't need to talk to someone. We need to take it to Jesus and let him talk to us. I know I'm meddling a little bit. And I'm talking to myself too. Maybe you have a legitimate issue. I don't discount it. There's a lot of legitimate issues and there's a lot of problem people that we have to deal with, right? You deal with problem people all the time. So it's not necessarily not a legitimate issue. And you might even be right. Maybe you are the better, or maybe you are correct in the situation. The problem is when you begin to talk about it, you just made it a whole lot of wrong, even if you were right to begin with. Because bringing it to a friend group didn't make it better. Take it to Jesus. Oh, I promise you it'll be better in the end. I promise you he'll have better advice than your friend. Take it to Jesus, get his thoughts, and then proceed with love, with mercy, with kindness. Like the truth, we talked about last week how we bind them around our neck and we write them on the tablet of our heart. Mercy, kindness, truth. We can't be out there picking fights. We can't. In the church, out of the church, we can't be picking fights. We got to be given grace. We got to be given mercy. We got to be laying down our life for our enemy, let alone our friend. We got to be just surrender to the Lord. Have your way in my life. That's how we're going to win. That's how we're going to succeed. That's how we're going to grow. See, it is a contradiction of the goodness of God when we allow mistrust by our behavior. We're misrepresenting him when we behave this way, and we will 100% stop our growth and maturity in him, period. This is an ugly trap, and you guys are better than this. You are. You are. Create trust with people instead of mistrust. And how you do that is not by just like keeping like secrets. Like, there's nothing wrong with if someone tells you something in confidence, like, hey, there's this coming up in my life, I want to tell you. And, that is trust. That is one way to create trust. But that's not what I mean. Create trust with people by championing them. Okay? And being sincere, by praying for them, and never speaking ill of them. Never. So if we just decided, this is one of my goals in life, I'm not there. I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. Pray for me. To never, ever speak an ill thing about another person. Ever. It's one of my goals. To never, ever say something bad about another person. Ever. You're like, that is a goal. It is a goal of mine. Can you imagine living a life where you never have one negative comment about another person? This is in politics. This is the enemy of your sports team, because someone just tripped someone, and I don't know. I'm just making stuff up, guys, right now. Like, someone helped me out with a sports illustration. But, you never, ever speak. This is someone cuts you off in traffic, and you're just like, nothing. The referee makes a bad call, but you don't make a bad call about the referee. You're just like, bless him. Imagine never speaking an ill word. Now I'm really meddling. Create trust with people. And if you're in a situation where someone comes to you, and because I know some of you are probably thinking, well, what if someone comes to me and they have an issue and they want to talk about it, and it's about a person? You can shut it down. And you can do that in love by realizing that when you do that, you're calling the person higher. You're like, I believe in you so much that I'm not going to let this happen. What I'm going to do is we're not going to talk about it, but I'm just going to pray for you right now. Pray for your heart. What a beautiful switch that could be in our lives. Creating trust, shutting things down, never speaking an ill word. Come on. Listening to God's thoughts and then speaking those thoughts over our situations. This is lining up with the nature of the goodness of God. The last trap, compromise. Compromise. Verse 31 says, do not envy a man of violence, and do not choose any of his ways, for the devious are repulsive to the Lord, but his private counsel is with the upright, those with spiritual integrity and moral courage. God says in his word, be holy, for I am holy. Now, he wouldn't say that if we couldn't do it. He wouldn't make a claim and then we just never can live up to it. That would be just really messed up. Be holy, for I am holy. Wisdom is following the instruction of the Lord. When we make choices to align ourselves in the ways of people or the ways of the world or the ways of evil, and it goes against the nature of God, we are partnering with evil, and we are separating ourselves from friendship with God, with intimate friendship with him. Because his private counsel is with the upright. His private counsel. That's amazing. That's one-on-one. That's intimacy with the Lord. See, this could be, what does this look like? Well, this could be reacting in hatred against a people group or a cause, even if they're a really bad cause. but we react in hatred instead of in love. This could be being sneaky or manipulative in order to get your way. This could be being rude or disrespectful to authorities that you don't agree with. You don't have to be rude to disagree. You can still be kind. Do not, the Bible says, choose any of those ways, because it is a contradiction of the holiness or the righteousness of God and who we are in Him. This will never reflect God. It will never reflect Him. So then when we associate with that type of behavior, we become believers of God, yes, but in name only. Because if we truly believed, wouldn't we live? So we never grow and we never change and we never produce fruit in our lives that will last. We cannot produce the fruit of the Spirit of love, joy, peace, patience, gentleness, self-control when we're being mean, destructive, rude, angry, sarcastic, forceful, defensive. There's no fruit going to grow from those things. Just bad fruit. It's just not going to happen. So with the fruit of the Spirit, without the fruit of the Spirit active in your life, being displayed on your life, I wonder, do we even have the Spirit? Because if I have the Spirit, shouldn't it show? I mean, what's a part of me should reflect in me and through me and be displayed on me. His private counsel is with the upright. Those with integrity, it says, moral courage. That's the friendship with God. That's a beautiful thing. That's face-to-face encounters. You want an encounter with God, you have to be holy. You hear stories of encounters with the Lord. You hear stories of people being wrecked in His presence and taken into, even in the prayer room this morning, Craig released a word that God gave him in the moment about a portal being open, and it's like timed, and it's like a whole thing, but it's like really powerful, and it's like right now. And something that God is an invitation into an encounter with Him. But we have to be holy. We can't be in His inner chambers in intimacy with Him if we don't have the holiness and the righteousness of God. Now, I'm not talking about perfection. Okay, because the blood cleanses us and we are covered and we can put on the robe of righteousness. Okay, so I'm not talking about being perfect. We cannot be perfect. That is why Jesus came and died for us, so He could take on all of that so that we can be covered by Him. But what I'm talking about is saying that I want to be holy. My desire is to be righteous. I am attaining righteousness and holiness in Him as I pursue Him in all things, because it is the most important in my life to have relationship and intimacy with Jesus. I want to have encounters with Him. I want to know what it's like to be in His presence. Guys, do you know that eternity is real? Do you know that we will live forever? And I know that is a wild thought and it is a scary thought, but it is real. And there is a time coming when we will pass from this life to the next. And honestly, what we're doing on this life is just practice for eternity. Because when we get over there to that other side that we will never leave, ever, I want to know what to do. So if I can practice encounters and presence and worship and holiness and righteousness and moral integrity and good standing and reflecting the nature of God and producing the fruit of the Spirit here, then I'm going to be so much better in heaven. It's real. So He has to be our number one. Anything else in this life isn't worth it compared to Jesus. Nothing. It will all fade away. It will all crumble to nothing. There's nothing. Jesus is it. Jesus is it. Panic, delay, mistrust, compromise. These are traps. These are traps that will send you in cycles. So how did the test go? You're like, I'm literally in every trap all at once. The great thing is, even if it went really bad, it's just a simple adjustment. It's just saying, yes, I want to embrace godly wisdom. God, I want to do it your way. And then find someone to be accountable with, because I think that that's key in situations like this, because these things are like, they're like easy to decide in the moment, but hard to live forever. But someone that you can trust to call you higher. Someone that won't just like say what you want them to say, but they'll be like, you know what, you're better than that. And I'm going to call you higher, and you will receive from them because you know that they love you. Verse 33 says, the curse of the Lord is on the house of the wicked, but he blesses the home of the just and righteous. Though he scoffs at the scoffers and scorns the scorners, he gives grace to the humble. If we want a blessed home, we will choose his ways. If we want a cursed house, we will not. That's just kind of like the way it is. This is not an easy task necessarily, but it is simple. The wise, verse 35, will inherit honor and glory, but dishonor and shame is conferred, or it's the legacy of fools. See, legacy or inheritance and things like that, and I'm going to close in just maybe about 60 seconds, is not something you one day have. You just wake up and then you have your legacy and you have your inheritance and you leave it behind. Is the compilations of daily choices and decades of building history with the Lord while living your life for him openly and in front of people. We all receive and leave legacy. Everyone. We may not have had the chance to control what we have received, but we all get to choose what we leave. Why don't we stand as I pray? And this is a personal thing this morning. If you're like, you know what, I have found myself in the traps. I'm in some of them right now. And I actually see the signs of the cycles where I'm like good and then I'm back in it. And I want that to break. I believe that the Lord will be faithful to your invitation when you say, Lord, come and break the cycle. I believe that he will. And this is a chance today just to say yes to him, to embrace godly wisdom, to let this be your capstone moment where you're like, you know what? I fully am going to embrace godly wisdom and understanding from the Bible, and I want to live that way. So let me pray for you. Father, I just thank you for every one of these family members in this room today. And I thank you that they decided to come out and make you today their first priority, to worship you with each other and to learn from your word. So I pray that the words from your word that has gone out today would land in the fruitful and fertile soil of their life. And that they would have the courage to water it and nurture it, to bring it sunlight and to invite other people in, to call them higher, and to be accountable in the things that matter. God, I pray for those of us that might find ourselves in cycles where we panic because we just forget that how faithful you've been, or we find ourselves just hung up on things that we shouldn't be hung up on, or we create spaces of mistrust, and we just kind of continue to fall back into the old life. God, I pray that you would highlight those traps as that we see them coming from now on, and that we would be able to efficiency with agility and intentionality sidestep the trap and stay on course with wisdom and biblical understanding, following your ways. God, make us privy to every hidden trap of the enemy. We choose you because we know that without you, we can do nothing. But with you, we are unstoppable. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. That is all. God bless you. Happy Super Bowl. Bless them, Lord.